It's a quiet fall evening in Indianapolis in 1965. A police officer steps into a shabby two-story house and catches a glimpse of something almost unthinkable. Something that would become Indiana's most terrible crime. This is the story of Sylvia Likens, a 16-year-old whose unimaginable suffering would change Indiana law forever. Welcome back to Macabre Mondays, where mystery meets macabre with your favorite deadly married duo. I'm Ale.
And I'm Tom.
Your guides through the strange, the sinister, and the spooky.
Spooky, scary skeleton.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that. And I find it funny because you do look extra spooky right now.
I do. So do you.
Thank you.
You look like somebody I just found in a farm field. Maybe
by a pumpkin patch.
Yeah.
A crow hangs on me.
Well, I think you're technically to keep
I come
crows
out
away.
every 23 days. I come out every 23 years.
Every 23 years.
Jeepers Creep. No, imagine. Technically, well, no, Jeepers Creepers isn't really a scarecrow, but in the first movie, he is on a scarecrow. I guess like he's hung up like a scarecrow. And that's how the movie starts. Yeah.
I guess I gotta watch Jeepers Creepers again.
Wait a minute. You've never seen Jeepers Creepers?
I mean, I feel like I have, but now...
Doesn't seem like you did.
No.
Doesn't seem like you paid attention.
Well...
It's okay, but that's why we're together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You love watching these movies,
yeah.
and it's a perfect time. 13 Nights of Macabre is out.
Yes, 13 Nights. Have you guys been listening? I hope you guys like it. If you don't, it's not for everybody. It's okay. Maybe next year we'll do better. Or maybe next year you'll like the next one, actually, okay? Because we're giving our all out here.
Guys, I can't. This is just, oh, man, it's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm so glad you guys are liking it. Let us know if you guys do like it or you don't. Or, honestly, if you don't, be nice about it. Whatever. But anyways, I am dressed up as a scarecrow.
Ooh.
And Tom is dressed up as...
Miguel.
Yes, for Miguelito from Coco. Oh my God. If you guys didn't think Tom was white already.
Okay.
Whoa. The white face paint is really giving him the Edward Cullen look right now. Thank God it's nighttime. Because if he were in the light right now, he'd be glistening. Okay, he'd be shimmering.
Honestly, my skin already looks, if not better, than the whole Cullen family.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the shade wasn't that far off from...
That's messed up, man. That's messed up.
You look so cute, though. I love it.
I'm white, but I'm not pasty.
Yeah, you're not pasty. That's right. No, I'm just saying...
Pasty.
Oh, what does pasty mean?
Pasty is like you're really, really white.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. we use sunblock. Yeah.
Yeah, I get tan.
Yeah, he gets tan. Anyways. So make sure you guys are listening to 13 Nights of Macabre. If you guys don't like that type of style of story, that's fine. You could just listen to all the other episodes if you haven't caught up.
Yeah.
We're
at how many?
41 episodes right now.
41.
I know. What did you guys think about last week's episode about the listener stories? I thought they were so spooky. Everybody's having such a crazy life. I know, you really didn't.
It progressively got worse. All those stories screwed with me.
It did. It sure did. That's
and you guys
true.
like this too much.
We also got reached out by the anonymous story by Anonymous, who submitted the story about the pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they blessed the house. Yes, they had seen another like black figure in the room.
Entity.
Like some type of entity in the corner of the room. But she said that at the time she was also sleep deprived because, of course, babies. And so, but she did say she blessed the whole house again, and she's got like some statues, some religious statues in there, and she hasn't seen anything happen anymore. But she does have a rule in her house that she cannot watch horror movies on the second floor because that's where the baby's room is.
Who knows?
So only in the living room.
Maybe it was Miguelito. Oh, jeez.
Miguelito. Damn.
Miguelito.
Remember that one time we were at a party and you were
Okay.
like, Cristiano Ronaldo,
Oh,
and
I thought
everybody
we were
was
going to talk
gassing
about
you?
the other one.
The Palo Santo?
Oh,
I love
shit.
that one. I love that one. Tom was
Look,
like,
guys.
look, I love this smell. What is this?
I'm a new Hispanic.
He
I'm
is.
still learning.
He is. He is. And he's doing so well. I thought it was so sweet. But I
Yeah.
just thought it was funny. We have to laugh at these things. I
At
think
this
it's
point,
funny.
I think I know more players on the Argentina FC team than you
Then-
do.
Psych. Yo, play me off right now. Me and you. Out back.
All right. Play you off?
Yeah.
Like we're going to like play against each other?
Yeah.
Baby, you don't want this.
Yo,
You don't want
you
this
don't
heat?
want this smoke, buddy, okay? You don't want this tang.
All right. Where are we going today?
Yeah, okay. Where are we? Okay, we are actually going to.
Indiana.
We are.
Oh, yeah.
We
Oh,
are
wait.
going to
Actually, I
Indiana.
don't know if I... Last time we went to Indiana, you dropped some bombs on me.
No, I did. And I'm about to drop another bomb on you
Oh,
because
damn.
today's case has actually been labeled Indiana's most terrible crime.
Really?
Yes, and I want to go ahead already and just give you guys a heads up that this whole episode is going to be a whole trigger warning.
Okay.
A whole trigger warning from the minute we start the story to the minute we end. Trigger warning from the jump, okay?
Wouldn't be Macabre Mondays if there wasn't.
Yeah, so you're going to probably hear the chime by now. And man, I'm probably going to add like 5 chimes because this story is insane.
One here, one there, and one there.
Yes, and this story is also going to involve children, unfortunately.
Oh, damn.
Yes, so just listener discretion is strongly advised. Please proceed with caution as we go forward because this has been labeled Indiana's most terrible crime. Now, I remember when I first learned of this crime, I didn't even know that it was actually... Well, I actually watched the movie. I just so happened to have watched the movie when I was younger. You're at the end of it, you're going to be like, what? Like, how did you randomly stumble across this movie? I was like maybe like preteen.
I honestly don't question that type of stuff anymore with you.
I think you will.
When we get into this?
Yeah, I think when we get into it, you're going to
okay.
be like, how did you even stumble across this movie like that young?
Yeah.
But I remember I stumbled across the movie. I watched it. The cover was like kind of spooky. It looked like ominous. And when I watched the movie, my heart tore out of my chest. I still think
Damn.
about this case ever since I learned that it was actually inspired by a true life case.
Okay.
And so today we are going to Indiana, okay? To the Crossroads State, the state of corn.
You know why they call it Crossroads America?
Yeah, you told me that everybody be
All
driving
the
over there.
interstates.
Yeah. I call it the Indiana goodbye.
Okay. That's called the Midwest goodbye because it's not just an Indiana thing.
I know. You guys are my first Midwesterns I ever met. So you and your family, I love you guys.
Takes us an hour unless you do the Irish goodbye.
Tom, have you ever heard of the name Sylvia Likens?
Never.
Okay. Let's get into it.
Oh, no.
Sylvia Marie Likens was born on January 3rd of 1949. She was the middle child in a big family, 5 kids total, okay? Her older siblings were Diana and Danny, who were both 18. So she's actually the middle child of 2 fraternal twins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought that was so cool.
Imagine. I'd feel so left out. I'd be like, damn,
Everybody's
both my
got a
sis-
twin.
yeah.
I ain't got no twin.
Then there's me.
I know. And so she had Diana and Danny, who were both 18. Then we have Sylvia Marie Likens, who was 16 at the time. Benny and Jenny, who were 15. Another set of fraternal twins. Now, today's episode is going to be taking place in 1965, and Sylvia was 16 at the time.
Okay.
Jenny had survived polio when she was little, which left one of her legs weaker than the other. She walked with a steel brace, and Sylvia was her big protector older sister.
Okay.
Like, Sylvia was always there helping her, carrying her books, waiting for her. She was like, anytime any of the kids would try to pick on her because she had polio
She
and like a
like
brace.
stood up for her.
Oh yeah, she was like, you're not fucking
Oh.
with my sister.
Okay,
Yeah.
we like this.
Yeah, we love a big older sister, protected. The Likens family wasn't well off by any means. Their parents, Lester and Betty, worked as traveling carnival concession workers. They ran a small snack stand at county fairs across the Midwest, selling sodas, popcorn, apples, whatever you sell at the
Caramel
county fair.
apples.
Yeah, things like that. So pretty much them working here is they're making just enough to just keep the family moving from the next town to the next town. Okay, so they're kind of struggling. Some of the things I was reading is that they would either try to stay at like friends or families' homes, or they would stay at motels. So they didn't really have such a well, at least the children didn't have such a stable home life, but they did do their best to try to keep them in the same school sometimes. But again,
I can only imagine how tough that is, especially because you're more or less having to travel for the fairs.
Right. And you also have, and that was pretty much kind of like the source of income that they were steadily making. So it was kind of helping them take care of the family as well. Now, thankfully, Diana and Danny were 18 already. And from what I was reading, Diana and Danny already kind of left the house and they were working. So they were really just caring for, or just more worried for Sylvia, Jenny, and Danny.
Okay.
But what I was reading, I'm sorry, and Benny. I think I said Danny again. Benny and Jenny. Benny, Jenny, and Sylvia. There's a lot of names.
That's good names.
Yeah,
though.
but I love that. Diana and Danny, Benny and Jenny. If I had fraternal twins, if I had twins, period, I'd be rhyming. Cat, hat. No.
What's your name, Cat? What's your name, Hat?
It'd be better. It'd be way better. It'd be way better. Now, by the summer of 1965, Lester and Betty had signed up for another run on the carnival circuit. A few weeks on the road just to make ends meet. Now, the older twins, like I said, are already moved out. Their younger son, Benny, was going to be staying with relatives. And that pretty much just left Sylvia and Jenny, who, remember, Sylvia's 16? Yeah. Jenny's 15. They're only a year apart. Yeah. Just needing kind of a temporary place to stay. And this is like the summer for right now. They're like, all right, we just kind of... What I was reading, because to me, I was like, well, why didn't they stay with family? I don't know any more with that. If anybody knows more info on that, I couldn't find anything really. It seemed like they just didn't want the girls coming with them to the fairs because, one, stability, they need, their education.
Yeah, they probably would have been pulled further away from their school and stuff.
And friends and all that. And
sense.
Second, they were also worried about their safety. Sometimes carnivals can be a little, two young girls. You just never know. So
that's true.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Now, through a neighborhood friend, two girls named Paula and Stephanie Baniszewski, Sylvia and Jenny started spending a lot of time with them. So they were all friends. Their mother, Gertrude Baniszewski, who's 37, she seemed kind of gentle, polite, and dependable. I don't really care about her, but I'm just going to say a little snippet. She was thin, she was frail, she was ugly, late 30s, 7 kids of her own. She had like baby daddies, nobody's there with her. She's divorced. She also was struggling to make ends meet herself. She's got 7 kids to care for. And she also lived in this like 2-story house on East New York Street in Indianapolis. Okay. When Lester and Betty met her, Gertrude offered to take the girls in for $20 a week while they were working the carnival route.
Damn, that's actually a lot of money back at that time.
Which I looked it up because I was like, how much is $20 back in 1965? We're talking $200 nowadays.
That's what I was thinking. I was going to say like $250.
Yeah, it's probably around there. I just kind of rounded up. But, and if you think about it, that's a lot cheaper than daycare. Hands down. Well, $200 a week. Yeah,
I'm sure daycare at that time also was a lot cheaper than what it is now. Because think about it now. I feel like everyone I talk to, I feel like
$1,500 a week for one baby, one kid, and they're not even there all day.
It's a freaking scam.
It's crazy.
I'm about to open up a freaking daycare just to be like, what did you do all day, dude? I freaking played. Army with the kids. We turned on movies.
No, it's definitely hard though to do daycare.
100%.
Taking care of all these kids. Yeah, but I just feel like it's hard for parents to be able to just. It's hard. It's hard. Honestly, it's hard having a baby nowadays.
It's freaking expensive.
You really need a village. Now, she promised that she was going to treat them like her own. Right? She's like, hey, let me in. Now, one of the I saw like a couple different stories of variations of how Betty and Lester met Gertrude. It was either through church, through like a church friend. Other people said that they knew her. The one that I read a bunch of different articles. Jenny and Sylvia, they knew Paula and Stephanie, which was two of her daughters.
So regardless, they all met.
Regardless, they all met. Okay, and that's pretty much how it went. She's like, "Listen, you pay me $20 a week, and I'll treat your kids like your own. I'll take care of them
like my own." Okay.
Now, it sounds like the perfect solution. It's a stable home. You've got a church-going mother and 2 friends that are already living there.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it seems like they really didn't have many other options, too. At this point, kind of feels like the best option.
Right. And they're like, you know what, why not?
Yeah.
Now, at first, it went fine. Sylvia and Jenny wrote cheerful letters to their parents. saying that, they were helping around the house and they would go to church with the Baniszewskis and they were, hanging out with the girls and just being girls for the summer with
just
friends.
having a fun time.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary.
It's like a sleepover.
Exactly. A slumber party for like weeks on end until your parents
That
come
sounds
back.
like a blast.
Nothing out of the ordinary happens until when the first weekly payment of $20 arrives late. And that's kind of where everything changes.
Oh, no.
Gertrude, like I said, was struggling. She's already got 7 kids. She's alone. She's constantly short on money. She's kind of living off of child support checks that never really arrive on time.
Mm-hmm.
She has asthma. She chain smokes, and she often probably went days without sleep. I mean, who gives a fuck about that? But neighbors said that she always looked very frail, pale, hollowed eyes, always having a cigarette between her fingers. When Lester and Betty, the $20 payment arrived late in early August of 1965, it was the trigger that pretty much set everything off. Gertrude became very frustrated, and so she decided to call Sylvia and Jenny into the living room, holding the letter from their parents that mentioned the delayed payment. She accused them of eating her food, costing her money that she didn't have, and that she's got to waste all this money just to feed them.
Even though she's the one that wanted to help.
Right, she offered, and she knew. Sylvia tried to apologize. She told her, that her parents would send it soon, but Gertrude slaps her across the face.
What the hell?
Hard. Yeah, smacks her. And that was the first time Sylvia was hit.
Wow.
Afterward, Gertrude would say how spoiled the girls were, how she was tired of feeding other people's kids. Within days after that instance, she began directing her own children, especially her older daughter, Paula, who was 17, to help discipline them.
Oh, no, we don't like this.
Because why are you disciplining children when, what the is wrong with you?
What the hell?
Yes. Yes. Now, Paula, her 17-year-old older daughter, was already under stress herself. She was apparently secretly pregnant, and it was something that...
Oh, shit.
Yeah, something that Gertrude pretended not to know, but was kind of like punishing her indirectly for it. It seems like Gertrude has a lot of hatred built up, a lot of anger because of
at everyone else.
Yeah, at everyone else except
about
herself.
her situation.
Of her situation, exactly.
Go figure.
Paula started taking her anger and frustrations out on Sylvia.
Damn.
When Sylvia mentioned she'd once gone skating with a boy, Gertrude accused her of being pregnant and being dirty and loose.
What the hell?
Yes, you're going to see a lot of projection here. She started calling Sylvia names like prostitute, filthy, slut. Other kids in the house heard it, and they believed it. That was the moment that the abuse became a group behavior.
Oh, Lord.
Gertrude had actually opened the door for her kids and neighborhood kids to treat Sylvia like she wasn't human anymore. Like she was crap. Like she was...
What the hell?
She was this spoiled brat that was a slut. None of this is true, by the way. She's 16, Sylvia. She's just here because she needs, her mom.
Parents are working their asses off.
Yeah, to try to be able to... Yes. So it started with Gertrude hitting Sylvia and Jenny on the butt. What I was reading is that she would either use like a belt or a paddle or really anything that she could get her hands on, and she was spanking them on the butt like a dozen times a week.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. And mind you, this isn't even her kids. You shouldn't be doing that even if it's your kids. You should not be paddling, belting for dozens of times throughout the week. That is too much.
Yeah, that's
ridiculous.
insane.
That's ridiculous. So imagine that. There was a time that I was reading where Gertrude told Jenny, grab the paddle and hit your sister with it. Hit Sylvia.
What the?
Yes. Gertrude told her, listen, if you don't hit her, you're going to get it next and you're going to get it bad.
Yo. So now she's literally turning them on each other.
Yes. Now, the thing that breaks my freaking heart is that Sylvia, being her older sister and protector, literally tells Jenny, hit me hard. Do what she's asking because she didn't want her sister to get hurt.
Well, yeah, because she does. Yeah.
She's like, listen, if I have to be the one to take the brunt of it,
then let me take it.
Let me take it. I'll be fine. After this, Gertrude started shifting all the abuse and focus off of Sylvia and Jenny to just Sylvia.
Oh, man.
Yes. And I don't know how true the movies are. There's a couple different variations of this case. They're all relatively the same. But some of the things I saw is that they couldn't really... It seemed like they kind of stopped beating on Jenny mostly because, one, she had a brace, she had polio. Again, I'm not entirely sure how true that is. I didn't really see that in the articles I was reading, but that's just something that I found interesting.
Okay.
Because they shifted they stopped. It was Sylvia and Jenny at first. They were spanking both of them, right? Because Paula was also kind of joining in. Sylvia and Jenny first, but now everything's just been directed at Sylvia.
Okay.
So now Sylvia is becoming a punching bag. At this point, Paula was joining in, calling her names, beating on her. Paula had hit Sylvia so hard with her hand one time that her wrist broke.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and guess what she did after her wrist broke?
Hit her again?
Well, when you get a wrist, you got to get a cast, right?
Well, yes.
Okay, well, she's so mad at Sylvia because she broke her wrist that she decided to start beating Sylvia with her cast.
Oh my gosh.
Because why is that Sylvia's problem? It's not. It's your problem.
It sounds like Gertrude literally has trained her daughters to also have this same
they're a product of
look
their
on
environment.
life of, oh, your issues are not your issues, it's everyone else's.
Yeah, and like, hey, here's a little girl that I'm sure you're jealous of her. Yeah, and I'm sure you're jealous of her because she's young, she's beautiful, she's got this life ahead of her. She's like, honestly,
she's got parents that are actually working to try to provide a nice life for her.
Yes.
What the hell, man?
Yes. And then here you guys are, ugly, lazy, stupid, dumb.
You owe me $500.
Yeah, you're an alcoholic. You owe me $200. I hate child abusers. Stop fucking doing that shit, man. Stop doing that. It really boils my blood. Soon, another one of Gertrude's daughters, Stephanie, her boyfriend, Coy Hubbard, that's his name, Coy, who would actually practice his judo moves on Sylvia for fun, as if she was a practice dummy. Yes.
That's insane.
Yes. It was happening kind of gradually. Like the house itself was kind of testing to see how far they could go, right? They're like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, what? I can't.
You're telling me this doesn't make sense to you?
Yeah, like, are you kidding me?
What the fuck?
Oh, and I get it. Like, they're a product of their own environment, but I don't know. I could never. I just can't. There's evil in people.
No.
There's evil in people. Sometimes it's really hard for me. Yeah, I just can't. I remember even as a kid, like I couldn't be bullying nobody. That was so mean. I couldn't let alone like put my hands on someone else. No thanks. So one slap started turning into a beating. One insult started turning into hours of verbal humiliation about how she's a slut, she's a whore, she's loose, she's whatever. None of this is true. They're just trying to beat her down.
Yeah.
They're mad. They're mad.
They're mad inside at themselves
they're
and their situation, so they're going to get pissed off at her.
Right. And Sylvia...
Because that doesn't make sense at all.
Right.
It's so stupid.
Gertrude would actually line the kids up and tell them to go hit Sylvia to teach her some manners.
Yo, who the are you?
And when they hesitated, she'd yell, "Go on, she's nothing but trouble anyways. She's nothing but trouble."
Oh my gosh. Sorry you can't afford an extra pack of cigarettes.
I know. I can't. The story, like, every time I hear Gertrude, I'm like, oh, girl.
You know, I feel like you should have done my Coco outfit with, like, really angry eyebrows.
Yeah, I know. You're going to be real angry after I tell you this one. I'm sure everybody will be angry after hearing
I am playing the sweetest freaking character in almost all these Disney movies.
I know.
And I'm listening to a story that's making Miguelito pissed.
You're like, mad, angry. Sylvia never fought back. She would stand there quietly, sometimes crying, sometimes staring at the floor. She would just try to protect Jenny, whispering that it would stop soon, that they just had to hang out until their parents came back. Because she's like, you know what?
I'm sure that's probably what she was trying to think.
She's freaking 16.
Yeah, what the hell, man?
Like, she doesn't know any better. She's here because her parents trusted Gertrude to take care of her, right? And all she knows is that, listen, I need to stay here until my parents come back, and I need to protect my younger sister, Jenny.
Well, and it's also sucks because at this time, you're talking 60s Indiana.
Yeah.
60s Indiana was nowhere near developed as it is today.
Yeah, that's true. That's facts.
And again, I don't know the specific area that this is taking
Indianapolis,
place?
yeah.
Oh, so this
is in Indianapolis.
In Indianapolis?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's somewhat developed, but
No, but it's 65. Yeah, it's 65.
It's nowhere near. I mean,
Yeah.
it's probably still a lot of farmland. The Indianapolis Speedway was there, but there wasn't a lot of...
Right.
You know,
what you have there today. And I remember
Yeah.
when we covered the Fox Hollow Farms, that was also
Yes.
taking place in Indianapolis. A lot of the men that were picked up,
Yep.
and then they were brought to
There's just not... It's
Marion County?
Marion County
Marion
Jail,
County,
yeah.
yes.
That's the county for all of Indianapolis. But it's just one of those things. And this time, there's probably not a lot of places they could have thought, oh, let's try to run away and get to this or this.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know?
So at this stage, the abuse is still looking, at least from the outside, like harsh discipline. I mean, beyond harsh discipline, but she's getting smacked. She's getting smacked around. She's getting spanked. People are like verbally abusing her, all that. She's getting abused. But clearly 100%. From the outside in, people are like, oh, it's
just discipline.
Yeah, she must be doing something that she's getting disciplined.
Because again,
that's the other thing.
Same thing. Think about this time.
Oh, man.
There was still,
think about this time.
What was it called? Corporal punishment or whatever?
Is that what it is? Where they?
I think it is.
Where it's the type of...
Like the teachers used to be allowed to spank kids
spank you.
And stuff.
I don't know if that was at this time, actually.
I think it was still
you might
up
be right.
through, I want to say it was probably up through the 70s.
When was it banned? Let me see. Okay, it said a significant number of states banned corporal punishment in public schools between 1974 and 1994. Yeah,
so during this time,
you really don't know. Right. And no, you're going to see, as I keep going, you're going to see you talking about I wonder how Indiana was in 1965. You'll get a clear picture. You'll get a very clear picture. Yes. No one in the neighborhood really questioned it, even though they would hear cries and pleas coming from inside the house. Mm-hmm. Now, this house where Gertrude, the house there, it's, like I said earlier, it's 2 stories, but it's on a corner lot. Okay. So no one would ever really question it, but everyone kind of had this thought about keeping things to themselves. Yeah. Not my business. I'm gonna
stay out of it.
I'm gonna stay out of it. So something must be going on there. Not my problem. That's literally the thought process in Indiana at this time. I don't know if it still is right now, but at least at this time, it definitely heavily was. That was the main thought process.
It's not so much now. Everybody's in everybody's business.
I think everywhere, honestly, a lot of people are always in everybody's business. Very true. But at the time, that was pretty much how it was. Everyone's like, listen, I'm hearing cries and pleas. Like I said, don't know the story, not going to intervene. The kids still ended up going to school, right? So this was happening in August in August, she was getting spanked. She was getting smacked, verbally abused. She was getting abused.
Everything, yeah.
So the kids, they still went to school, and Sylvia still smiled when she would see people she knew. She was still like a ray of light.
Like play it off.
Yeah, she would also see school as pretty much her gateway.
An escape. That makes sense.
But at home, exactly. But and it sucks because there are a lot of kids who are abused that do see school as an escape.
I remember my mom used to tell me, because she was a librarian at one point, she used to tell me that there would be kids that would literally cry at the end of the year.
Oh, no.
Because it meant that they weren't going to get that escape, and they either had to go back to their unfortunate rough living situation, the parents, whatever it may be.
Oh, God. I'm like getting emotional thinking about that. That's horrible. That fucking sucks. That's horrible. Yeah, I believe it. I mean, I've read a lot of other cases with unfortunately kids, and it's sad. Because, I mean, so when I think about me growing up, I'm like, man, I fucking hate school.
Yeah.
I want to go home. And then there's other kids who are like, I don't want to go home. Like, I love being here. I love to learn. I love to do anything other than being home. And that's it's just sad that's really even how they have to feel. Gertrude started withholding food as a consequence.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So now this is becoming a daily routine where she is beating her. She is like verbally abusing her. Now she's like, I'm going to hold food because you don't deserve to eat right now.
The is wrong with you?
You don't deserve to eat. She made Sylvia do chores all day and then would accuse her of stealing when she asked for seconds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Paula, encouraged by her mother, obviously, would start hitting her with a belt as well.
What the hell?
Yeah. Now, Stephanie, one of her daughters, tried to stop it once, but backed down because Gertrude kind of turned on her. That was pretty much Gertrude's thing. Yeah. Like, if you're going to stop this, then you're next. And obviously the kids are like, oh, shit. Fuck
Jesus.
It. But instead of them not, or maybe getting help or doing something. But again, I get it,
Well, I mean, she's literally groomed
She's a kid,
her freaking family to
but they would also
treat them
they
this
would
way.
also join in. So that's
exactly.
what I'm like,
that's
oh
what I'm
my
saying.
God, it's horrible.
She's groomed them to do this.
Then came the moment that ends up marking the point of no return.
Okay.
Gertrude started spreading rumors in the house saying that Sylvia was pregnant and that she had been with dozens of boys. This is like a common theme in this freaking story, is that Gertrude is always saying how she's slutting it off, she's off running around with boys, she's pregnant, she's having sex, she's a menace.
Why is she talking about herself?
That's what I mean. I think she just really hates. I feel like it really stems from jealousy.
Yes.
It really stems from a jealousy, like, oh, I'm really mad at her. But you being mad at a 16-year-old is crazy. And she's not even your daughter, which is insane. Now, none of this was true, clearly. It was just pure cruelty. But to the younger kids, it kind of sounded like permission that they should treat Sylvia however the hell they wanted.
Oh,
and that's exactly what they end up doing. By late August, just 3 weeks after she moved in, the laughter in that house had turned into whispers and mockery. Now they're just going off on the chain with it. Sylvia was now becoming the family's scapegoat to take their frustrations out on her. And she became the target that everyone, even the neighborhood kids, felt that they were allowed to hit and beat her up. Neighborhood kids. Imagine that. The fact that you have your family beating on her, but let alone, how can you find a neighborhood kids?
Yes. This is just...
To me, I just find that so despicable. Like, how can you live in a neighborhood that, one, people are hearing the cries and nobody's saying anything, and then two, even the neighborhood kids are like, let's go over to Gertrude's or her nickname.
Like, I'm all for
but
staying in your own lane and kind of trying to stay out of things.
To an extent,
when it comes to something like this,
when it comes to child abuse, best believe I'm calling the cops on your ass.
And I'm sorry, it's not even a man, so you have nothing to be scared of. I'm sorry, it's a woman.
Yeah. Oh, but now you can even do anonymous phone calls. You can do anonymous
but this
tips.
is back then.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know what the. I don't know how the situation was.
You're talking smaller town Indiana.
Yeah,
Cops
you're right.
probably knew everyone.
True. That's a good point.
But still, even then,
right.
Who in their right mind is going to be okay with this? Yeah.
And so at this point now, this for Gertrude has become kind of like an addiction of power, right?
Obviously,
she's pretty much she's making the narrative her own. Now, by September of 1965, so it's like they moved in August. They've been there August. Mm-hmm. September 1965, the next month, the Baniszewski house stopped feeling like a home. And what began as discipline quickly turned into a routine violence.
Yeah.
Gertrude's children and the neighborhood kids had learned that hurting Sylvia was how it should be because she deserved every aspect of it. So Gertrude would actually call everyone into the living room and start ordering them to teach Sylvia a lesson. Sometimes she claimed that Sylvia had stolen food. Other times she accused her of lying or of acting wild with boys, again, because that's a common theme here, which was never true. Anything of that was never true. It was always just lies and excuses for people to see why Sylvia deserved to be beaten and abused. Now I'm going to introduce you to the participants of today's story.
Of course.
The circle around Gertrude started to grow. So we've got her daughter Paula, who was 17, which was one of the worst offenders, right? She's already angry. She's pregnant. She's resentful. She's ugly. I mean, like, you're gonna see a photo of her, and you're gonna be like, damn, I'd be mad too, but you're dumb. She's got the same shit that
Gertrude's got.
Yes. Stephanie was 15. She mostly stayed quiet. Like I said, she tried one time, but then she couldn't. She was terrified of her mother.
I was gonna say she knew what was needed to do to be able to more or less survive and not.
But she was still participating in the beatings.
Oh, of course.
Yes. So
well, again, it could have also been just part of the. Well,
I don't know.
I don't do it,
it's hard for me to have any type of sympathy. I know. I get it to an extent, but it's just hard for me to have sympathy.
The only reason I have a little bit is just she's the only one that tried to stand up.
Yeah.
And Gertrude's whole family.
I get it. It's a complicated. Yeah, no, I get it. Now we've got John. He was 12. Gertrude's young son started joining in too, hitting Sylvia because he said that his mother said he could. Why the hell not?
Yeah. This is fun. My mom said I should.
Then came the neighborhood kids. So from what I was reading, there are a lot of other people that were involved, but these are our main participants, okay, that were actually common theme that we're always coming over doing this. We've got Coy Hubbard, like I said, Stephanie's boyfriend. He was practicing judo moves on her like she was a practice dummy. Then we have Richard Hobbs, who was 14. He was a friend who lived down the street and apparently, from what I was reading, had some type of sexual or intimate relationship with Gertrude at one point.
Ew.
Yeah, and remember, he's 14 and Gertrude is 37. Yes. What I was reading was that he, what I was reading was that she would undress in front of him and such, and it was never really verified, right? But from what I saw, the way that he would get defensive when people would ask him, it was kind of obvious, like, oh, why are you getting so defensive? Like, something must have definitely happened, okay?
That's so freaking disgusting.
Yeah. She was 37, which is disgusting, yes. Then we've got Judy Duke, who was 12, Randy Lepper, who was 11, and Anna Sisko, who was 13. All of them were allowed inside that house. Now, like I said, there was a lot of others that weren't really
so freaking
named.
many kids.
Yes, which is sad because seeing their ages too. Also, but that
they're being impressed on by, or I don't even know if that's the right term, but they're literally being taught to do this shit by her.
But I also feel like, what are you guys learning at home?
Well, that's
that
true.
You think, because at first I'm like, okay, Gertrude is building this army of hateful, resentful,
but
ugly,
at the same
disgusting
time, they
people.
have to have learned
they're
least
learning,
part of
they're
it
a product of
somewhere.
their environment. Yes, exactly. But then seeing how these other kids too are like, yeah, let's beat her up, let's mess her up.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It's freaking crazy.
And like I said, I feel like at those ages, the last thing on my mind was, oh, I have free will. Let me just beat someone up just to beat them up. Like, oh, I'm so mad, I'm going to beat them up. Like, it's just not, it's just weird. It's just weird. Now, at first, like I said, it was slaps, it was kicks, but then came, hey, let's put cigarettes out on her.
Oh my God.
We've got over 100 cigarette burns on Sylvia at this point.
Holy shit.
Yes, 100 cigarette burns.
That's insane.
Cigarette burns, yep. And another thing that I saw is that they were saying that Gertrude's house was kind of like the house to go because she would let them do pretty much whatever they wanted.
It sounds like trap house.
Exactly. Pretty much that. And I think Gertrude really liked that.
Like the whitest of white of trash.
Yes, pretty much.
Like
because
nasty.
she would let them do whatever. Yeah, you want to do this, you want to do that, go ahead. So, and I'm sure Gertrude liked that because that's like her way of like, oh yeah, even though they're kids, you freaking psychopath.
There's a reason you don't look like you're 37. You look like you're in your 80s.
Yes. Paula and John were using belts, spoons, broom handles, whatever was nearby to beat her up. Like I said, Coy is using her as a practice dummy for judo moves. They would start cutting parts of her body. And we're told not to cut too deeply so she didn't have to go to the hospital.
Oh.
But cut her because she deserved it.
Love that. What the hell?
Witnesses later described it as chaotic, almost like a game. And Gertrude would sit in a chair, chain smoking, telling them where to hit, watching all this happen, letting them do whatever the hell they wanted.
But everybody that's seeing this saying it's chaotic, nobody's doing shit about it?
No, because they're everyone that's there is participating. Yeah. And from what I was seeing, Jenny would try, but again, Sylvia would tell her, like, don't.
Yes.
Because Sylvia is trying to protect. Yes. Yeah. No, yeah. It's Jenny has got nothing. Jenny is another victim in this story. Now, Sylvia stopped fighting back. Like I said, she was 16. She's 5'6", barely 100 pounds. And she took most of it quietly. Sometimes, like I said, she would be crying. Sometimes she would just be staring into space, waiting for it to just be over
that's
so
all
she
you can
leave.
probably do is try to zone out and separate.
And she doesn't really know. Like, one of she doesn't really know because she didn't want her parents to worry and to come back and to miss out on money because she knew that was their only way to make money. And so she didn't want, which to me, I'm like, man, that broke my heart. That broke my heart so freaking bad. Because this girl is literally enduring so much pain because she doesn't want her parents to worry about having to come back. And like, because she knows that they needed the money really bad. Like, oh my God, like
she is the most selfless person ever.
Yes. And again, like she kept saying, like, this is just temporary. mom and dad are going to be back. I just have to take it and this will be all behind us. And she was like banking on that. Like the whole time she's like, you know what? I just have to take this.
It's
like,
just
it's okay.
a little longer, just a little longer.
And also imagine how she must feel, because if I'm constantly being berated and verbally abused like that, oh my God, it would kind of probably get to me sometimes. Like, damn, do I deserve this? I don't know.
Yeah.
You're 16.
It's a mental battle too.
You're malleable still. You're learning so much. You're hitting puberty. You're going through all these stages. You're being made fun of. You're made felt like you're treated like crap. And another thing that I saw is that she, and I'm not sure entirely how true this is, but I saw it out there. And apparently Sylvia had a missing front tooth. And so she had a lot of insecurities with that. So that's why she would only smile like with her mouth closed.
Okay.
But if she's already having certain insecurities, I mean, she's a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
From what I was reading, she loved the Beatles. She loved to roller skate. She loved her family. She loved to go to church. She loved to just be a girl. She
was your
to just be
everyday
a girl.
American little girl.
Yes. She just wants to live her life. And this is how she's getting treated. When school started, I saw that Sylvia went to school for a bit, which was, like we said, her only safe haven. Until the bruises started becoming a lot more visible, Gertrude had her stop going to school.
Oh, that's
literally
great.
cut her from going to school.
Yeah, because you knew you were going to get caught.
Exactly. And at this point now, oh man, at this point, you know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
You dumb
At this
broad.
point, you're not even trying to hide it.
No,
you know exactly
and to me,
what
it's
you're doing.
like, you can't later use crap on anything.
No.
Saying like, oh, well, I was this, I was that, I didn't know what I was doing. You can't.
Because if you genuinely were just disciplining,
right,
you wouldn't give a shit about somebody seeing her.
Right, exactly. And also, you wouldn't have carried it on the way that you have. Now we're talking, I just, even from the jump, man, even from the jump. Okay.
Jesus.
When the school noticed that Sylvia stopped coming to school, a nurse actually stopped by the torture house to check in on her. Gertrude told her that Sylvia had run off with a group of men and was out prostituting herself.
Oh.
She said that the sores on Sylvia's body came from being filthy and refusing to bathe. And the nurse believed her. The school closed the matter.
How dumb are you?
The school closed the matter. Well, that's the thing. At this time, people are taking people's word to the T.
Yeah.
No one's really questioning Gertrude because she is this, she's a churchgoer. She's a mom. She's also struggling. She's helping. Outside, she's looking like this type of picture that she's really not on the inside.
What the hell, man?
And the problem, too, is that at the time, there were no type of mandatory reporting laws back then. So no one even followed up or...
Yeah.
And again, like you said, at 1965...
Yes. Total different type of...
You'll see as we keep going, because the reason why we have a lot of laws in place is because certain things have happened over the decades that have made and it's so sad. Okay.
Jesus.
So that worked. Her lies worked, and the school never followed up. Now, once Sylvia was isolated, Gertrude started spreading lies through the neighborhood. She was telling people that Sylvia had been sleeping around, that she's pregnant. No one was questioning her. But when Sylvia...
Same shit.
Yeah. No, seriously. When Sylvia begged to defend herself, Gertrude laughed and said, "You'll thank me when you learn how to behave."
Oh.
Man, if I could catch Gertie and tell her that shit myself. Oh, man. Inside the house... The punishments are now just becoming entertainment, okay? Kids who would come over, they'd come over just to have their turn.
Have a chance.
Yes.
Yeah, what the hell?
Some watched, others participated. Sylvia's body at this point is covered in burns and welts. She's deprived of food. Her hair began to fall out. Neighbors actually noticed that she was looking thinner and weaker, but no one called the police.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, and no one checked inside because they felt it was easier not to get involved than just to believe Gertrude saying the truth, that she was a horrible, awful kid and that she was just trying to discipline her.
I can't.
And Gertrude was like saying this shit like she was proud of it. Like she's like, yep, I've got I had a smacker. I had a smacker and I taught her. Yeah, no, seriously. Which again, even if she was a bad freaking kid, that does not give you the right to beat on anybody, to beat on anything.
Not anywhere near like
Nowhere.
this. What the hell?
Nowhere. Beat yourself, bitch. Don't be beating on nobody else, okay? Taking out your frustrations on a kid.
It's just not right.
Weak.
They are the most defenseless thing.
Yes. She doesn't know. She's not doing anything to you. What the hell is wrong with you? Oh, my God. By mid-September, Sylvia is now starving. Gertrude would feed the rest of the kids and deny her food. Desperate, Sylvia was digging through garbage cans for scraps, and I saw that Gertrude had caught her doing that and beat her for it because,
of course,
technically she's stealing.
If she's stealing, why is she digging through your freaking trash?
Right, but in her head, she's all like, "Oh, you're stealing money." She just hates her. She just hates her. Yes. Why? No reason. Because she hates herself.
Because she's got a better life.
No, she hates herself.
She's a better person.
Yeah, she hates herself. She really hates herself. Now, there was one afternoon that Sylvia collected a few empty soda bottles. I think it was at a nearby park or whatnot. And she returned them to a nearby store, and she used the change to buy herself a candy bar. And it was one of the very small few joys that she had those weeks.
I can imagine.
Because that's all she could buy. Now.
Also, can we bring that back? Complete side note. Can we bring back the
recycling? I always thought that was a great initiative.
It's still a thing, but
really?
If you look at the back of the cans, it tells you on like the back of
really
Coke
drink
cans.
Soda. Yeah,
I know I'm the soda drinker. I'm the bad one. It'll say like 5 cents in these states or 10 cents in these states. Yeah, there's actual
you
places
think it says that on my Olipop?
100%. It's
what?
a can.
Stop.
All cans are recyclable.
Where do you go? Do we go? Is there somewhere nearby?
We gotta look it up.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look that on after. I don't know why I never thought about it. I thought that was a thing back in the day.
I just gave my wife a whole new deep dive for after this episode.
It's a whole different thing. Now, remember, she brings in the cans, she redeems them, and she buys a candy bar.
The little bit of joy this poor girl gets.
One of Gertrude's children, I was reading, it was either John Jr. or Stephanie. A lot of the accounts say that it was Stephanie, saw her eating it, and this little dumb goes home and tells her mother.
Of course.
Tells Gertrude.
An old hag.
When Sylvia got back, Gertrude accused her of stealing and screamed that she must have sold herself for the food.
Oh.
Sylvia tried to explain that she'd use her own money from returning the bottles, but Gertrude did not believe her because she doesn't believe
anything.
Nothing. Yeah. So Paula punches her across the face. That's when Gertrude took it even further. She grabbed a trigger warning, guys. Trigger warning, trigger warning. This whole episode is a trigger warning, but I'm going to just throw it in here again. Trigger warning. She grabs a glass soda bottle and forces Sylvia to use it on herself, to put it inside her vagina.
Oh my God.
In front of the kids, everybody that's there.
What the hell is wrong with her?
The neighborhood kids, everybody's there. She's screaming at her that she needed to prove what kind of girl she really was. It's one of the most dehumanizing acts of this case. I also saw that once she did do that, Gertrude told her to... Once she did do that, when she... it's just so uncomfortable to talk about because I can't even believe that people are disgusting like this. Sylvia didn't really know what to do, so Gertrude literally shoved it in there. And then when Gertrude asked her to remove it, Sylvia couldn't. And then when so Gertrude went to go remove it, and it actually kind of broke inside of her.
Oh.
Yes.
Great job, Gertrude.
From that day forward, the violence started to take a whole new kind of cruelty. Because now...
No shit, you just crossed a whole nother line.
That's a whole nother line.
What the
Now, Coy Hubbard... We've got Coy Hubbard, John Jr., Baniszewski. Also, by the way, guys, I don't really care if I'm pronouncing that last name wrong or any of these names other than Sylvia Likens and Jenny Likens, and that's really all I care about. So, but that's just me. And Paula. Okay, so we've got Coy, John, and Paula began kicking and hitting Sylvia's vagina in between her legs until she would kind of collapse. This becomes a routine thing that they start doing, is beating on her genitals.
Of course.
They start beating on her genitals.
Because now Gertrude's introduced a whole nother type of punishment.
And Gertrude is calling it discipline, saying that Sylvia needed to learn what happened to dirty girls, quote unquote. These injuries caused so much internal pain and bleeding. It was so bad that Sylvia couldn't control her bladder anymore and was having accidents.
Oh, that's great. Now another thing for Gertrude to get pissed off about.
Yes. No, literally, because instead of helping her, Gertrude ends up using it as another reason to humiliate her.
Had a feeling.
Forcing her to clean her own mess with rags and calling her filthy and that she was making a mess.
So stupid.
Jenny is still 15, obviously. All she can do is just watch helplessly. She tried sneaking her sister water and scraps of food at one point, and when Gertrude saw that, she threatened her life if she kept interfering. And obviously Sylvia kept telling her...
Threaten a freaking child.
Yes. And Sylvia kept telling her, like, listen, don't worry about it. Like, it'll be over soon. Which I can't even imagine.
At what point do you end up losing hope? But at the same time, it seems like hope is all that she had left.
Well, and that's when... So one night after another round of beatings of the abuse, Sylvia whispered to Jenny, her sister, and said, we'll tell Mom and Dad when they get back. We'll go home soon. Like, oh my God. I wish I was there to, like... Oh, man, I wish I was there so I could have helped. Like, oh, man, that's just, like, such a heart-wrenching story. Like, it makes me so emotional. I really... hate child abusers. Like, just what is wrong with you guys? Like, but the truth that they didn't know at the time was that the abuse had already crossed into something far beyond punishment at this point. Now it's just torture. It is just torture at this point. Yeah, and it's being carried out in plain sight. Like, it's a house full of children.
They're not hiding it anymore.
They're not.
No.
They're not. And while the whole entire neighborhood is staying silent, because if you heard her crying and wailing and pleading before when she was just being spanked, I wonder what you're hearing now.
Now, yes.
And no one is questioning anything. And this is happening for weeks.
Let alone, do you not see the obvious? A bunch of foot traffic going into this house.
Yeah.
Then followed by, what the heck, people?
Yeah, yeah. By the end of September, as Sylvia's condition worsened, Gertrude's outbursts became even more violent. Because that's already not violent enough for Gertrude. Nope, not at all. One afternoon, she accused Sylvia of lying about her daughters and grabbed a metal curtain rod from the window. She swung it so hard at her that it actually bent at a right angle.
What the hell is wrong with this woman? I'm sorry. You think this is a great idea. Let me just hit her now. You're bending freaking metal.
Yeah. You're beating, you're literally...
What the hell is wrong with you?
Sexually abusing her now.
Completely just utterly...
You're raping her.
Yes.
You're raping her with foreign objects. Like, you psychopath. Doing it in front of... Just to humiliate her?
Let alone taking the risk of killing her. You broke a freaking glass bottle off inside her. Jesus Christ.
Absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. And it's crazy because Paula, her older daughter, when that happened, laughed and told her mother that she was getting stronger every day. Oh,
of course.
Yeah.
She's turning into you.
Now, Sylvia, again, she didn't fight back. She would just stand there and take it. And a few days later, Gertrude told everyone that Sylvia was too filthy and didn't deserve to live upstairs anymore. By early October of 1965, mind you, they got here in August.
Yes.
It's October. Sylvia Likens was no longer treated like a person. Gertrude started calling her it.
Oh.
Which, do you remember ever watching, or have you ever read the book A Child Called It? Or you ever heard of it?
I think so, yeah.
Have you? Okay. I remember I read actually, I think it's probably a good thing to read in high school, but it was one of the books.
Say, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the books that I had to read in high school, or one of the options that you could read. And I remember when I first read it, for anyone who hasn't heard of it, A Child Called It, it is one of the most severe child abuse cases in California history. The story of Dave Pelsner, who his mom actually brutally beat and tortured him as a child. And when I'm talking like brutally beat and torture, like she made him drink ammonia. She made him sleep in the garage like a dog. I can't even fathom. It's a hard book to read, I will say. I remember when I was in high school, I read it and it changed my life because I couldn't even believe and fathom that
there were people even out there like this.
Let alone parents. Like, how can you torture your
own kid?
Yeah, that's
at
terrible.
That point, why the hell are you even having any kids?
Yeah, at that point, dude, torture yourself, man.
For real.
Stop it. Just stop it. But anyways, it reminded me of that story because it was such a heartbreaking story as well that I just like, oh man, like, I mean, Dave later on, he stays out of the limelight and the public eye or whatnot, but he has, like, since then he has his own son, and he's the one thing I think I saw, but this is a long time ago, he was just saying that anytime he looks at his son, he can't even believe that his mother treated him like that.
Yeah.
But it's a heartbreaking story.
A freaking person isn't going to ever treat their kid like that.
And he talks a lot about in the book, which is exactly why it reminds me of Sylvia Likens, because, and I can picture how she must have been thinking as well or whatnot. But in the book, he says how he's always trying to win his mother's love.
Mm-hmm.
So even if she was beating him and torturing him, he would still try to do anything he can to like make her happy. Oh my God, what is wrong? Like, oh, are you kidding me? And Sylvia
all he
Likens
wanted was love.
Yes, and Sylvia, right before everything got even worse, especially the first month, what I was reading too is that she was really trying. So she would actually go out of her way to like clean more, help around more, and that would actually piss off Gertrude even more because she hates that. Sylvia is such an amazing person. Yeah, she's such an amazing person. So after weeks of starvation, beatings, burns, and humiliation, Sylvia's body began to fail. She was bruised, she's infected, and she is so weak that she can barely stand.
Makes sense. She's literally killed.
Yes.
At this point.
When she started losing control of her bladder, Gertrude declared her too dirty to stay upstairs, so she actually threw her down the narrow wooden stairs to the basement.
Oh. Just add another. Jesus Christ. What the hell is wrong with this woman?
You can go on your slides. That is the house, which I'll post everything on social, guys. You can see the home. There's photos of the home back in the day. Mm-hmm. There's photos of Gertrude. There's photos of Sylvia.
Can I keep going?
Stay there.
Okay.
Now down in the basement, it's dark. It's a cold space. It's only got like a single light bulb and a concrete floor that's stained with dirt and ash. It looks like you're not like the unfinished.
Typical unfinished.
Yeah, I was gonna say not
basement.
like the finished basements today.
No.
It's unfinished. It's nasty.
Concrete,
it's
nasty,
concrete.
Dusty. Yeah.
You just throw garbage
like
down there practically.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's where Gertrude told Sylvia that she's gonna be living from now on. There was no bed. There's no blanket. Sometimes there was a dirty mattress just on the floor. But Gertrude then would tie Sylvia's wrists with rope and loop it over the railing so that she couldn't sit or lie down for hours at a time. So she would actually tie her up that that her toes could barely touch the floor.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Which, if I'm not wrong, isn't that like a torture technique that they use in the military?
I'm sure it is, but yeah, probably.
Huh? What? Boy, could I tie you up so you... Oh, man. I want to fight her so bad. Jenny later ends up testifying that from upstairs, she could hear Sylvia crying, begging for water and food.
I can't... if I'm her, I can't... Oopsies.
Yeah.
Jesus. If I'm her, I cannot imagine...
Yeah.
You...
Like your sister.
Yes. And you're just getting told to just let it happen.
And you can't do anything about it. Yeah.
And that's all you keep hearing?
I can't, and she relied like one of the...
It sucks because these kids were dealt such a nice card with two caring, loving parents that seemed like they really tried everything they could. And then they unfortunately got put in the worst position they could have ever. And I'm sorry, this is another one of those unhinged episodes for me where I really just want to crash out right now. But like, Jesus Christ.
I know. It's, there was a time when Jenny tried to bring her food again. Okay. Gertrude caught her and made her watch as the other kids punished Sylvia for it.
Oh.
So now here's another reason why Jenny is not going to do anything she's like, damn.
She's getting...
Now I'm the reason why
your sister's getting hit for shit that you're just trying to help your sister.
Yep. And Gertrude is using that against her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was so bad that Gertrude started charging the neighborhood kids 5 cents to come downstairs and see Sylvia.
Of course, because you're a broke...
And do whatever they wanted to her. 5 cents.
What the hell is wrong with you?
This is the part where, to me, I can't even fathom how you could have found, let alone a whole neighborhood that doesn't say anything.
No, for real.
A whole neighborhood of kids.
But if all these kids are in on it and good with this, then to me,
yeah, like I wonder. I wonder what they're saying when they go home.
Yeah.
Are they even talking about their day? Like, oh, what you do today, Sonny? Oh, I beat up Sylvia. I burned her. I used her as a judo practice. I took out some cigarettes on her. I kicked her in the genitals. Like, what? Also, like, where are your parents? How is nobody? Where's you?
Yes.
Huh? I have so many questions. I wish I was there to understand really more of like the whole situation, because obviously we weren't there. We don't really know everything, but we know what we know, and we know what we know now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when she charges everybody 5 cents, they were allowed to hit her, they were allowed to burn her, or they could just watch. But some of them were as young as 10.
Oh my gosh.
10 years old. Gertrude called it fun. Not long after Sylvia was banished to the basement, her parents, Lester and Benny Likens, actually stopped by the house to check on their daughters. Now, this part, I will say, breaks my heart. I feel like this really sucks. As much as I get that their parents were trying, this is the part that kind of gets me, where I was like, what? What the hell? Gertrude greets them politely, offers them coffee, small talk, telling them that everything was going just fine. They see Sylvia and Jenny, because they were brought into the room. Sylvia, at this point, imagine, she's pale. She's thin. She's trembling.
Look messed up.
She's not looking like herself. She's just smiling it through. What I saw was that she actually did everything she could so she could cover up like her bruises and her wounds, like with her clothes or whatever, so her parents didn't see, because she didn't want them worrying.
She didn't want them worrying, yeah.
She didn't want them worrying. And unfortunately, she and Jenny said nothing. And sadly, Betty and Lester didn't notice anything wrong with them, which that is what I find crazy, because how do you not know? How do you not notice? Like at this point, Sylvia is like weighs less than 100 pounds. Yeah. She's bruised.
You would think that they would, but at the same time, who knows? You've been gone that long. Like
I know.
You know?
I know. It's hard. It's hard. That's the one part where I was like, what? Like,
I know.
It was hard for me. It was hard for me when I read that. Later, Jenny would actually testify that the sisters had discussed it beforehand, because they knew that mom and dad were coming to visit, and they decided not to say anything because they were scared of Gertrude. Like they were afraid that it was going to get even worse. And they also said that they didn't want to upset their parents or cause them to lose work, since the carnival route is their only source of income.
Yeah.
They also didn't think that their mom and dad would actually believe them, because around this time, before mom and dad came to visit, Sylvia and Jenny actually managed to somehow sneak a message to their older sister, Diana, who was 18. Okay, they'd seen her near church one afternoon and begged her to help, telling her about the beatings and how Gertrude was starving them. Diana didn't believe them.
Oh, no.
She thought that they were just exaggerating, that she couldn't imagine that level of cruelty happening inside a house full of, like, alone with one person, let alone with a full of people.
I feel like I would struggle through. I don't
know. I guess, I don't know. I get that but how do you not,
but at the same time, I feel like this is your own siblings. Right. And both of them are telling you?
Right. No, I agree. Yeah. That's where, to me, I'm like, yo, what's up, guys?
Sucks, man.
She even ended up saying, like, I thought they just wanted attention. I didn't think that it could really be that bad. That she, like I said, she couldn't believe that one person could be that cruel, let alone the story of a whole house would want to hurt her sisters like that.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, yeah, but check it out. What's going on?
Yeah.
Which she did try to visit the house a few days later, but Gertrude refused to let her in, saying that the girls didn't want to see her. And that's it. Diana never came back. Yeah. So
I would
imagine
have immediately seen that as a red flag, I feel like.
If
my
agree.
Siblings told me all this, and then I went to try to see where they were staying.
I agree.
And then I'm being told they didn't want to see me, I'd be like, that's odd, because a few days ago, they literally were begging. I wouldn't have told her this, but I would have just thought.
I would have been like, listen, I'm not leaving until I see them. And if they're good, then I'd be like, they're exaggerating.
Yeah.
Sure. They were probably lying. But clearly, they weren't. I know. Damn. And that's where I also was like, are you kidding me? Which, one of the thoughts and questions I had was, why didn't they stay? If she's like living on her own, why didn't they stay with them? Yeah. But again, I couldn't read anything. I didn't find anything about that. It could have been, I don't know.
It could have been a certain situation or something, you know?
Right, exactly. And the same thing, like, apparently they used to stay with grandma, but I don't know why they didn't stay with grandma anymore. I don't know. I just know that that's the situation.
That sucks, man.
So after that, which, by the way, clearly that's why they didn't tell Betty and their mom and dad, because they're like, we already tried telling Diana and she didn't believe us. Yes. Yeah. Now, after that, Gertrude's cruelty ends up growing even worse.
How much worse can it get?
She would give Sylvia a bath using scalding hot water, trying to, like, cleanse her because of how dirty she is.
Oh my gosh.
Gertrude would even pour salt over Sylvia's open wounds afterwards just to make her scream.
Jesus.
When Sylvia fainted, Gertrude would wake her up only just to do it again. Yes.
What is wrong with this woman?
Sylvia's hair was falling out in clumps. She had open sores all over her body. Her voice became faint. Her words slurred, which were the effects of dehydration and the head trauma setting in. Because remember, she was beaten with a freaking metal curtain rod.
Yeah.
Even as Sylvia's conditions worsened, people in the neighborhood noticed less and less of her. When kids mentioned that she'd moved downstairs, Gertrude said she was being punished for running around with boys. And again, no one would question it. One neighbor later said that she heard screaming, but assumed Gertrude was just disciplining the girls. That phrase right there, disciplining the girls, becomes this justification for everything that follows.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's like, also, there's a thing to discipline a kid,
but when
there's a thing to screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? How is that discipline?
How? Yeah.
How is that discipline?
That's crossing a line.
Yeah, that's not discipline. That's not discipline. By mid-October, Sylvia was so weak she couldn't even lift her head. She was emaciated. She's covered in burns and bruises, barely able to speak. She was alive, but in every other sense, she's pretty much gone.
Mm-hmm.
And even that wasn't enough for Gertrude. It's kind of like that even made her even more mad that she was
basically
this
dead.
condition. Yeah. She was like, oh, like, are you kidding me? Like, you need to be punished more. You need to be punished more.
Jesus.
And so she decided that Sylvia, she had this bright idea. The stupidest thing ever since she's been born. Her whole life. Gone. You should just, I don't even know why you're a waste of space right now. She ends up having this great idea, apparently. Not so great whatsoever. She's just a disgusting, sadistic person.
Piece of shit.
That Sylvia needs to be marked as a permanent reminder of her supposed sins. All the sins that she's lied about. That's what leads to the next act of cruelty. That would even shock the jurors. Okay, because this goes to trial. That would even shock the jurors. And anyone who has been on this case, they can't even believe what they've heard. By mid-October of 1965, the basement had become Sylvia's entire world. She's skeletal. She's bruised head to toe and so weak that she could hardly lift her arms and head. She hadn't eaten properly in days. Obviously, they're starving her. Every time she tried to crawl towards the stairs to try to escape and leave, Gertrude or one of the kids would just shove her back down to the basement. So one afternoon, she called the kids into the kitchen and told them she was going to brand Sylvia. She said Sylvia needed to wear her sins. Jenny was kept upstairs that day because they knew that she would probably intervene with this. Gertrude heats a long sewing needle over the stove. She threw Sylvia on the floor and began to press the needle into her stomach. She managed the first few letters of a sentence before sighing because her hand was tired and that she had to run out for groceries. But before she left, she handed the needle to 14-year-old Richard Hobbs, her supposedly lover, right? I don't really know that situation.
Whatever
there.
The hell he is.
And told him to finish what she started. Paula stood nearby, encouraging him, helping him. And when Gertrude returned, the words were complete. What they branded her on her stomach with was, "I'm a prostitute and proud of it."
Oh my gosh.
Paula even added an S under Sylvia's left breast, drawn backwards so it looked like a 3. I don't know. It sounds like they're illiterate. They're stupid. Like, they're really dumb.
I mean, obviously, they came from Gertrude.
Yeah, no, seriously.
What the hell?
Gertrude stared at the letters and laughed and told Sylvia, "Now you can't get married. What are you going to do now?" And Sylvia, barely conscious, says, "I guess there's nothing I can do." Oh.
Damn.
Oh.
Like, that is literally her just at this point giving up.
She can't. There's no hope.
She's done.
She doesn't know what else to do. I think, like, and imagine, like, you've asked for help. No one's giving it to you.
I mean, at this point, she honestly is probably hoping that she just dies.
I can see. I could definitely. I wouldn't put it past her. Now, the next day, Gertrude began her cover-up. She's starting to realize that Sylvia's going to die. She's like, Sylvia's going to die and I'm not going away for it. She's starting to notice that, seeing the condition that Sylvia's in. So she decides to begin her cover-up story. I think either she forced Sylvia to write it or she wrote it herself. But she pretty much writes a confession and a farewell letter. And she, like, some of the things that I saw online of what it said was, "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Likens, I have gone away with a gang of boys. They said they would take care of me. I am sorry I have been such a problem. I have gone away now." Apparently there's more to the story. I couldn't really find the photo, but those are just some of the things that I found.
Basically everything Gertrude was trying to say that she was doing.
Exactly. And that was going to be her story. The letter was supposed to blame anonymous boys for Sylvia's injuries. Okay. So if anybody's like, okay, she ran away, but let's say we found her, which I'm going to tell you exactly what their plan is, right? It's going to make it look like she chose to run away. She met an anonymous group of boys, and the boys are the ones that tortured her like that.
Okay.
Gertrude was telling her son, John Jr., and poor Jenny, that they're going to take Sylvia to Jimmy's forest and leave her there to die. So they're going to, so she's going to force Jenny. John's like, I'm sure John's excited about it. Yeah. But she's forcing Jenny to literally take her sister to the forest to leave her there to die. And she's got this story as her cover up. But Sylvia, at this point, was so weak, she couldn't move at all. Like, she couldn't move at all. In the days that followed, Sylvia drifted in and out of consciousness. She couldn't keep any type of food down whatsoever. Gertrude, actually at this point, seeing that Sylvia's like on the brink of death, forces Sylvia to eat, kind of handing her crackers. And she couldn't really swallow anything because she can't keep anything down. Yeah. She's got so, like, I found her death certificate and it says her cause of death. We'll talk more about that. When she handed her the crackers, Sylvia turned her head and said, "Give it to the dog. I don't want it."
Damn.
Gertrude, obviously, now at this point, anything that Sylvia does, Sylvia could just breathe and she's pissed at Sylvia.
Yeah.
Gertrude shoves the food into her mouth and beats her across the stomach. So she beats her again. Then she grabs that metal curtain rod and swings it bent again. So beats her again.
Jesus.
Coy Hubbard takes the rod from her and strikes Sylvia once more, knocking her unconscious.
I mean, at this point, she's already damn near dead.
Yes. So Gertrude, angry, she's now angry. She's like, oh my God, she's going to die soon. Like, I'm pissed at her because she's going to die soon because of the thing.
So let me just
the
beat
torture
her even
that
closer.
I caused her. Yeah, that makes no sense because she's an idiot. She tries to make her eat again. She forces donuts and milk into her mouth until she chokes on it. And like, she just can't hold it down. She can't hold anything down. You also got to think about it. She's getting beat so brutally. She's got internal bleeding at this point.
Yeah,
she's incontinence. She can't use the bathroom. She's having 100%. Accidents on herself. She's got burns all over her body. She's probably got an infection.
Literally destroyed.
She is destroyed. She is absolutely tortured.
Her body is shutting down.
Yeah, that's literally what's happening. Now, late in October 25th, so it's October 25th now, Sylvia overheard Gertrude and John talk about dumping her body in the woods. Summoning the last of her strength, she actually tries to crawl towards the front door, but she can't reach it because she's not fast enough. Gertrude catches her, beats her again, drags her to the basement, ties her to the railing. That night, neighbors later said that they heard banging coming from the basement. What they're thinking was that Sylvia might have been like striking the walls with like a shovel, crying for help, trying to get somebody's attention. And around 3 a.m., that's kind of when the sound stopped and no one called the police.
Wow.
The morning of October 26th, Stephanie noticed Sylvia wasn't breathing right. She's panicking. She's with Richard Hobbs. They had untie her wrists. They carry her upstairs and they try to actually wash her in the tub like regularly because apparently giving her scalding hot baths was a common thing after they would beat her, or, you know, it was just a thing. So they actually wash her, like they give her I guess a nice wash. Okay. They dress her in clean clothes and they lay her on a mattress upstairs and begged her to wake up. Moments later, she whispered to her sister, "Jenny, I know you don't want me to die, but I'm going to die. I can tell it."
Jesus.
There's
Christ,
another account,
man.
another article that I read that she said, "Oh, Jenny, I see daddy." But this seems to be the most common, of her last final words. When she didn't respond, Stephanie screamed for her mom that something was wrong. Gertrude comes in. She feels a pulse, clearly sees that she's not breathing. She's passed.
Dead.
And she says, oh, she's just faking. And apparently she throws herself on Sylvia, beating at her, yelling at her.
What the hell
that
is
she's
wrong
faking
with
it.
you?
That she's faking it. That Sylvia, and it's a lie, that she's a liar, because she has this perception that Sylvia is this horrible person, that none of it is true. So she's saying like, oh, she's faking it. She should, like, everything. So this whole time, everything that she's been going through, she's just faking it. It's not that bad.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yes. Sylvia, of course, doesn't react, doesn't move, doesn't say anything. Then Gertrude leaves the room, and moments later, Sylvia takes her final breath. On the morning of October 26th of 1965, damn. Beautiful Sylvia Likens, man, only 16 years old.
Damn, dude.
In the span of 3 months of being in that house, passes away from torture, being murdered. Gertrude calls the police herself, still clinging to her stupid story because she's stupid. When officers arrived, she handed them the handwritten note and claimed that Sylvia had run away with the boys, and she had returned beaten and filthy and then collapsed in her care, and she was trying to kind of revive her and help her, and that's when she passed away. While the officers are examining the body, Jenny Likens stands in fear. She's by the stairs, and she looked at one of them and whispered, "If you get me out of here, I'll tell you everything."
Damn.
Those words cracked this case wide open. Because within minutes, the truth begins spilling out. From Jenny, from the younger kids in the house, and from the neighborhood children who watched it all. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, we've been messing her up.
Jesus Christ,
we've been torturing her. We're horrible people."
What the hell?
Yep. And what police uncovered inside that house would honestly horrify the entire city. When officers entered the Baniszewski home that afternoon, they immediately knew something was off. Something was wrong. They said that the smell hit first, that they could smell sweat, rot, blood, and decay. And Sylvia's body lay on a thin mattress in the front room, visibly battered. The carving on her abdomen was fresh. Her lips were actually split because she apparently bit her lips really hard.
I can imagine. Yes. You're getting literally basically branded but sketched into.
Yeah, and beaten. Like, yes. Her teeth were broken and her hair was matted with blood. She weighed less than 70 pounds when she passed. God. Gertrude stood calmly nearby, cigarette in hand, because she told police that she'd done everything she could to help Sylvia, that the girl had run off with a gang of boys, returned bruised, and then died suddenly. She even pointed to the forged note as proof. But it didn't take long for that story to obviously fall apart.
Unfold, yeah.
Also, if you didn't notice, in the story that she forged and she faked, she's like, "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Likens."
Who the hell isn't going to say, "Dear Mom and Dad"?
Yeah, you psychopath. Or, "Hey, Mom and Dad." That just makes sense that you... Oh.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, you're an absolute idiot. You freaking idiot. So remember how Jenny was like, "Get me out of here and I'll tell you everything"? Okay. The officers ended up leading her outside once she was safely away from Gertrude. She pretty much told them everything that happened since the day that they'd moved in. So they arrest Gertrude. They arrest Paula, John, Coy Hubbard, and Richard Hobbs. All the same day they were arrested.
Damn.
The rest of the Baniszewski children were taken into protective custody. Police found evidence scattered throughout the house. The bent curtain rod, blood-stained mattresses, burned sewing needle, ropes hanging from the basement railing. Everything literally matched Jenny's story. The medical examiner determined that Sylvia had died from a brain hemorrhage, shock, and severe malnutrition.
Holy
Her body bore over 150 separate wounds. Burns, cuts, bruises, and open sores. Some were beginning to heal and others were inflicted within hours from her death. So she was being tortured
even after she was dead.
Yeah. He testified that even if someone had called for help that day, Sylvia's body was already too damaged to recover. She would have not been able to come back from that. The case obviously goes to trial. A trial begins May 1966 at the Marion County Courthouse. It was one of the most widely covered cases in Indiana that they've ever seen, and it's labeled one of Indiana's most horrible crimes. The defendants sat together. I saw that there was a couple of things that were happening during this trial. It seems like they didn't try them individually. They tried them all together. Everybody had their certain sentences, but it was kind of like a group trial. It looked like that from what I was seeing. I could have interpreted it wrong, but that's what I saw.
Yeah.
The defendants, they sat together. We've got Gertrude, Paula, John, Coy Hubbard, and Richard Hobbs. Each was charged with first-degree murder. Gertrude's younger daughters and several neighborhood kids were called as witnesses. Jenny did take the stand. She was trembling but very composed. Her testimony lasted hours. Hours.
Yeah, think about it. She's literally having to recount basically the last,
everything.
What is that, 3 months?
It's just 3 months.
3 months.
August to October.
Of so much abuse.
Yes, of so much abuse. So much abuse. She described every beating, every lie, every moment that her sister begged for help. And when she told the courtroom about the branding, several jurors on the jury were weeping. Weeping, man. And that, I mean, makes sense because I honestly was emotional just reading this.
Who's going to think that anyone even has the capability of doing some shit like this?
Right. I agree.
To a kid.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? The defense is doing their job, right? You know, don't hate the lawyers. The lawyers are doing, everybody deserves to be, not Gertrude, but represented, right? There's a reason why there's lawyers.
Yeah.
Now, the defense tried to argue that Gertrude was mentally unstable and she was under stress from poverty and illness, that she had a mental illness, and that the children all acted on their own. Like, she didn't tell them to do anything. She was just...
Oh, bullshit.
Yeah, apparently. But the prosecution reminded the jury that Gertrude had orchestrated everything, that she wasn't out of control. She was actually the one in control. She was in command. Everyone was listening to her. Plus, she is the adult in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You're letting people into your house, doing all these things. So on May 19th of 1966, the jury returned its verdicts. Gertrude, charged with first-degree murder. She was sentenced to life in prison. Paula, second-degree murder, sentenced to life in prison. Coy Hubbard, John, and Richard Hobbs were charged with manslaughter and each received 2 years in juvenile detention because they were young.
Yeah.
I know, and to me, I'm like, I don't want these psychopaths.
Tried them as an adult.
I would have, yes. But again, things were different at the time. Yes. Now, after the trial ended, the Baniszewski house at 3850 East New York Street. If anybody's from Indiana and has been around there, send a photo. From what I was seeing, they tore it down. They tore it down like in 2009, I think it was. And then I Google Maps it because I wanted to see like what stands there today. It's just a parking lot. Nobody's built a home there. But if you have been there, like, what is the parking lot for?
Well, I was going to say, I mean...
Maybe it's just extra parking?
Well, actually, hold on. What's the address real quick?
3850 East New York Street in Indianapolis.
Yeah, so when you gave that address, I was kind of thinking, I was like, I don't really recognize that area. There's a reason. It's East Washington Street, which is one of the rougher parts of...
You mean East New York Street?
Well, it's right above.
Oh,
it's a block away from East Washington
Okay.
Street, and that's one of the rougher areas of, like, Indianapolis.
Indianapolis?
Yeah.
Man. Well, yeah. Well, honestly, like, they demolished it. It sat empty. No one wanted to live there, obviously, because of the unspeakable and unthinkable things had happened. Today, like I said, it's just a parking lot, pretty much.
Yeah.
For Sylvia's family, life really never truly recovered after all that happened. Her parents, Lester and Betty, carried the guilt of leaving their daughters with Gertrude for the rest of their lives. They continued traveling with the carnival for some time, but nothing was ever really the same after that. They rarely spoke about the case publicly. Betty passed away in 1998. Lester passed away in 2013. Sylvia's younger sister, Jenny, the one who survived, tried to build a quiet life. She married, she had children, and remained in Indiana, but she never really escaped the memories of what happened in that house, which I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
She said that she'd still hear Sylvia's voice sometimes, laughing, teasing her like when they were little. In her later years, Jenny spoke out against child abuse, working with advocacy programs and social workers to help. She passed away in 2004 at the age of 54 from cardiac arrest.
Okay.
And her gravestone is next to Sylvia's.
Oh.
Which recently, one of our, your mom's husband, he was like, oh, find my grave.
Oh, yes.
I started using that.
Yeah.
I started using that. So I actually, what is it? If you go on findmygrave.com or .org, I forgot which one it is, but I looked up Sylvia Likens' grave and you can see the photos. A lot of people will leave like virtual flowers.
Yeah.
You can also see Jenny's grave. It depends on, well, people upload photos of all types.
Yeah.
Like they'll upload photos of the deceased, with the family members or whatever. But I just thought it was really interesting because a lot of the times you can't really see these graves. And every time I cover a case, all I want to do is go visit if it's a horrible outcome in the sense of like death.
You want to like pay
I want to go.
respects.
Yeah, I want to go. I want to leave flowers. I just want to hug the gravestone. Like I just feel, it's just, yeah. So if you guys are interested, you could definitely look that up on findmygrave.com or findyourgrave.com. Now, after serving 20 years, Gertrude was paroled in 1985. Now, you may be thinking, how can someone capable of such cruelty even be considered to be released and paroled? The truth ends up lying in the laws of the time. Gertrude was sentenced to life in prison in 1966, like I said. But Indiana's laws back then still allowed parole consideration after 10 to 15 years, even for life sentences.
Out.
I know. Her conviction was actually overturned in 1971 due to some procedural errors that I was mentioning before. Something about like they wanted, I don't really know. I didn't really care too much about it. I just wanted to see her locked up in life, like life in prison, all that.
Yeah.
But she was retried again in 1972. She was found guilty again at her retrial and sentenced to life again. But this time, she was sentenced before life in prison. Now she is sentenced to life, but with the possibility of parole. Despite the protests and over like 40,000 petitions demanding that she stay behind bars, the parole board voted 3-2 to release her on parole in December of 1985, citing her good behavior and her old age. She's old. Let her out apparently, but to me, blows my mind.
Anyone gonna beat her?
Tom's like, catch me outside. How about that?
Nah, because if this was today and she ended up in prison, she'd not be making it out.
I don't think she'd be making it out whatsoever.
I will say it's unfortunate and it's not right. I feel like the prison system has a way of taking care of certain people.
I see what you're saying, yeah. And that's why a lot of the times I'm like, you know what?
Even if you think you're going to make it to parole, I have a feeling you're probably not.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Other prisoners, once they find out what you're in for, they're not going to take lightly to that.
And apparently at her hearing, Gertrude ends up saying, I'm not sure what role I played. I'm just sorry.
What the?
You're not sure what role you
played? What do you mean? You literally were the ringleader.
No, seriously. And and that's my thing. You spent all that time in prison to come out saying shit like that? Get back inside. Get back inside. Are you kidding me? When people heard of her being released on parole, hundreds of people came to protest outside the prison gates. What I was reading is that they carried signs with Sylvia's pictures and begged the state not to let her out, but Gertrude walked free.
Jesus.
Yes, and that's a photo of her.
If I was her, I'd be sleeping with one eye open 24/7 until I died.
Well, she actually changed her name to Nadine Van Fossan.
Of course, because she probably didn't know how to spell.
Tom's so over her. I am over her too. She moved to Iowa and she lived quietly under a false identity. She was 60 years old when she died of lung cancers in 1920.
Right. Chain smoker.
1990. My apologies. So she only really lived 5 years after she was released, which is 5 too long.
Yeah.
A month too long, in my opinion. Now, to many, as you can see, her release is still another type of injustice and kind of just proof that the system could fail even after the justice is supposedly served. Now, let's move on to Paula Baniszewski. She also changed her name to Paula Pace. For decades, she lived a quiet life in Iowa. Which
so she moved there too.
Which to me, I'm like, oh, that must be so nice. You get to hang out with your disgusting mother. You both are disgusting. Okay. So they both changed their name. They lived a quiet life in Iowa. She apparently was working as a teacher's aide.
How the she make it into a school?
For special need kids.
For special needs of what?
At a school in Conrad, Iowa, until her true identity was uncovered in 2012.
Oh,
and she was fired immediately. And I don't know. The article I read, the school obviously did not comment anymore on that. They don't know how she clearly must have lied about a couple things.
Yeah.
for them. Yeah. And apparently someone found out because they saw her or something, and they literally reported it, and she got fired immediately. Now, Coy Hubbard was in and out of prison for assault and burglary. He died in 2007. Richard Hobbs, he was haunted by what he'd done, apparently, died of cancer in 1972, only a few years after his release. He was 21. John Jr. moved away and changed his name, rarely speaking about the case. He passed away in 2005. Now, Sylvia's death changed Indiana forever, as you can imagine. Her story was one of the driving forces behind the state's new mandatory child abuse reporting laws. So now the law is that if you are a teacher, a doctor, a neighbor, anyone, you are required to report any type of signs of abuse.
Yeah.
That is literally, it's a law.
I was going to say, I feel like I know about this because I remember growing up that there would be kids that if they like told anything, then
you'd have to report it. Yeah, you got to take it seriously. Yeah, you have to take it seriously. Yeah. And it also led to the creation of the Sylvia Likens Child Advocacy Center, which is an organization dedicated to protecting children and preventing abuse before it starts. Wow. Which, oh my God, I'm gonna link the Advocacy Center website in the description so you guys can go check it out. They do so many amazing things. You can even go donate if you guys can, or just share the website, because it's got so many resources.
Yeah,
it's got so many resources on there too, and because you never know when you'll find yourself ever needing that.
Yeah,
you just never know. Who knows? You may encounter someone who is being abused, and you're like, damn, I don't know who to call. What do I do? Yeah, all that. In 2015, 50 years after her death, the city of Indianapolis unveiled a memorial at Willard Park in her honor.
Wow.
It's a simple stone that's surrounded by flowers, and it's engraved with these words. This memorial is in memory of a young child who died a tragic death. May our actions prevent others from suffering the same. And so every year people still leave flowers there, sometimes notes, sometimes just a quiet moment of silence. Some people just like to go visit. Sometimes they'll leave toys. Oh, I can't. Now, Sylvia's story isn't just about cruelty. Clearly, it's about neglect. Not just from one person, but from the entire community that chose not to see it and to ignore it. She was 16. She loved roller skating. She loved helping her sister. She loved her family. She loved the Beatles. Okay, she had a crush on Paul McCartney.
I was gonna say, I love that that's your thing that you keep going back to. Is the Beatles.
She was a woman of taste.
I mean, the Beatles were a damn good band.
They were a good band.
And
okay.
Fun fact, completely just separate. We actually got to see remember we saw their original contract they signed, remember?
Oh, yeah, when we were in London.
All four of their signatures.
Yeah. Aw. You see, she would have been able to have done things like that.
That's,
Experience things like
Gone
that.
Abbey Road.
Instead, like, her life was tragically taken because of these freaking low-life, sadistic, nasty, ugly.
And then one of you was able to work in a
school as a teacher's aide.
You don't deserve work at all. You deserve to struggle the rest of your life.
No, straight up. You asked for it. You literally asked for it. This is the life that you wanted to live. No joke. So the lawyer that defended Richard Hobbs, and he also defended John Jr., he ends up saying he wrote a book, and in the book he talks about how he speculates that Richard Hobbs and Gertrude had some type of relationship because of the way that he would deny it. It kind of was like, why are you being so like clearly defensive. Something happened. Clearly something happened. In the book he wrote, I don't think Gertrude was guilty of murder because I don't think that she intended to kill Sylvia. I think she was stunned when she died. In no way does that excuse the god-awful things she did or caused to be done. She had a miserable life. What I think this was about was jealousy. That she was jealous of the Likens sisters.
I could see that.
As I was doing this, I was experiencing something I did not experience during the trial. And it was frustration over all the many ways that this should have stopped and wasn't. And he even continued on to say that nothing that he was in the trial. So, and he even says that he's like, nothing that I can see, like every time he was writing this book, he had to take many breaks because of how rough this case is, that he does not understand any type of way of why she deserved to have been treated that way.
No.
Like there's no rhyme or reason for any of the things that happened. And that's literally what he says, like, this is one of the most horrible cases that he can't, even he himself has to step away from it at times. because it's too dark. It's too dark. Now, if you or someone you know suspect child abuse, I wanted to include this in here. Call the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline, which I didn't know this either. So when I was reading this, I was like, oh my God, no, I'm going to, like, now I know, because I don't know. You never know when you're in a situation like that. And then the last thing you want to do is be like, man, what do I do?
Yeah.
And then, you know.
Like, how do you intervene?
Yeah, as long as you, if you didn't know, at least now you know now. And later on you could be like, oh, what was that thing? And, oh, the Child Help, whatever. But they do have a national child abuse hotline, and it's at 1-800-4-A-CHILD or 1-800-422-4453. Or you can go on www.childhelp.org, and all calls I was seeing too, because I'm like, do they charge? How does that work? I know some people can't afford things like that. So they do, all their calls are toll free and confidential, and the hotline is available 24/7 in more than 170 languages.
Wow.
So yes, right there. Honestly, I saved it on my phone because I was like, I don't know. I'm just, you just never really know. You really never know. And honestly, I don't ever want to be in a situation where, I mean, immediately I'm calling the cops. For sure. But if I'm suspecting of anything else going on, I'm going to look like that meme where it's that guy like calling his manager and he's like, I'll insert the photo because I don't think I'm doing it right. But he's got his flip phone and he's got the glasses and he's literally like, that's me. Okay. So I'd be weary. That was a heavy one today.
Is next week lighter?
No.
Well, shit.
Yeah. Well, now you know what the most horrible crime, labeled the most horrible crime in Indiana is.
Awful.
Yeah, I know. I wonder if any of your family have ever heard of they didn't really hear about the Fox Hollow Farms.
Yeah.
But again, we knew that was kind of a little bit on the hush-hush because...
That's true, yeah.
Because of the whole gay community.
At the same time, something like this was literally, this whole murder and everything was happening when my parents were they were young, if not.
Yeah, they were young.
I think my dad maybe
if not,
was
maybe
in
like
teens,
babies.
But when the trial was happening, my dad would have been like 11.
It was 1966. Yeah. And then she passed away in 1965.
I was thinking her parole in 72.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was saying. I was like,
never mind.
1965 is when Sylvia passed away on October 26th. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, at that point, my dad was 6 years old. My mom was.
I just wonder if anything. Yeah, I wonder if. Oh, Millie. I wonder if. I don't know. I just wonder if they've heard of it. You know, interesting. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna reach out after this for sure. Thank you for joining us today on Macabre Mondays. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. And hey, if you know more about today's episode or caught a detail we might have missed, we love learning. Let us know.
Mm-hmm. And this was a big episode too.
It was a big episode, yes. I honestly, and it was deep. It was dark. I know we need a palate cleanser for sure.
Yes. I think maybe some paranormal stuff. I don't know. I'm feeling like the people might I'm feeling like the people might want maybe the Winchester House. Okay. Or maybe the East... I think I'm going to say it wrong. East State Penitentiary.
No, I think you got it right. Yeah, I think you have it right there.
You know me.
Yeah.
You know, some haunted shit.
I love how that's also scary. And then when we do that, you're like, okay, like let's go back to doing something else. And then you like jump back and forth. Well, because
this is like dark and just... This sucks.
Yeah, this is horrible.
This sucks.
Yeah, it's horrible. No, I totally get it. And the crimes with children, and not saying that any other crime isn't terrible and horrible to hear. It's gut wrenching.
But
with children, it's just so It's just it's something else because
it really
is. It's just children, animals, anybody who's just not. Just selfless, like they just can't really vouch for themselves. They're like, I just can't. So yes.
Either way, that's a great segue because we would love to hear from you guys.
Yes.
If you guys have a story that's strange, sinister, or just downright spooky, it does not matter how small it may be, please send it our way. You can email us at macabremondayspodcast@gmail.com or jump over to our website, macabremondays.com, and submit your story. Yours just might be featured on an upcoming listener episode, and I want to make sure I reiterate this. We do the listener episodes, but we also take requests.
Yes.
If you have something that you say, hey, this is really of interesting to me, or really of interest to me,
yes,
you're probably not the only one.
Yeah.
So submit it. Tell us. Send us in our DMs. Comment it. Whatever you want. Send it our way.
And just know that if it doesn't get featured in the next episode or the next 2 or the next 3, it's on a queue. Okay, because we've got people submitting requests now that are like, oh, I'd love for you guys to do this or do that, or I'd love to hear this or whatnot. And I always have it on a queue where I'm like, okay,
let's add it in.
Yeah. So just know it will get covered at some point. Just bear with us, okay? We'll see you next Monday for another sinister, strange, and spooky episode. Stay tuned. More mystery is just around the corner. Don't forget about 13 Nights of Macabre, okay? It's out now.
So good.
Okay?
So
Every episode, every chapter, actually. Spooky ooky.
Guys, this is literally like free version of Freeform, but in an Audible book.
Yeah, in an Audible book. Okay.
Think about going to bed, listening to your favorite Halloween story, and now you're just going to be waiting for the following week, the next episode.
Yeah, but this one we're doing every night for 13 nights.
13
a chapter
nights.
A night. One chilling story. I hope you guys love it. Honestly, I love you guys. So we just want to make you happy. I just want to celebrate the Halloween, the spooky. I want to celebrate with my people, and it's you guys, and this is the community that we're building.
And to be honest, it's late as shit right now, but you know what I'm about to do?
What?
It's cold outside. I'm going to go have myself a nice beer.
Ooh.
Sitting out by the fireplace. It's one of my favorites. I had to go get a growler this past weekend.
Ooh, you sure did.
Ugh. And I've not poured myself a single beer out of it.
You haven't, and I'll join you on that. I'll take a little quarter.
All right, let's do it.
I'll take a little quarter. But until then, stay curious and stay safe. Please stay safe. Stay safe. Love you guys. Bye.
Deuces.
I'm a crow. I'm a scarecrow. Grr, grr. If I do this with my mouth, look, then I look like I actually have like stitches. Ready? Look.
I'm your more. I'm your more.
Wait, remember La Llorona?
Oh, yeah.
La Llorona. No, yep. They sang it in the zoo.
Bye.